Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Watson, and in this video I'm going to be giving you an overview and a little bit of context for the poem London, which was written by William Blake. The poem is part of AQA's GCSE English Literature Power and Conflict syllabus. The poem describes a walk through London, which is presented as a miserable, poverty-stricken, oppressive place. So, by 1793, France had revolted against the monarchy and was on its way to becoming a republic. A republic is basically a state governed by an elected official as opposed to a monarch. The revolution was caused by widespread anger and frustration with the French monarchy and the poor economic policies of King Louis XVI, who was publicly executed. Now, London was published in 1794, 1 year after the execution of the French monarch, in a collection of poems by Blake called Songs of Experience. It is incredibly likely that Blake had been inspired by the uprising in France, and that he imagined a similar situation happening in London, which had become an oppressive and impoverished city. Now, in terms of a bit of context about William Blake himself, he was an artist and a poet who made and sold his own books. For him, his art and poetry went hand in hand. He was never famous or rich during his lifetime, and he was disappointed that his work wasn't more popular. He was a political and religious radical. He didn't like the way society or religion was organized and wanted to change it. As a result, many people at the time thought he was mad. For example, he thought that marriage was a form of slavery. Now, in the glossary here, we have some definitions of words that appear in the poem. What you'll notice is there is a clear semantic field here of negativity. We've got references to plagues, to a hearse, to blights, to manacles, meaning chains and handcuffs, to woe, which means sadness and misery. So there is a very, very negative tone created in this poem. Now, some of the key themes that are explored in this poem include power, so the abuse of power from those in authority, those in government, and the lack of power that those in the lower classes and the working classes actually had. There's also this conflict between oppression and freedom. As I mentioned on the slide before, the poem creates this sense that those who are poorer and who are in poverty, they're metaphorically shackled. They're not allowed to have optimism or hope. They're just part of the system. Fear is another key theme. The fear that is conjured up in this poem, this idea that walking around the streets of London during this time, that it was a scary place to be, sounds are referenced quite a bit in the poem. You know, this idea of screams and people cursing, it all comes together to build this really negative, desperate image of London during this time. And of course, there is this conflict between poverty and wealth. The French Revolution effectively started because those who were in poverty, those who were poorer, were unhappy with the way they were being treated by those who had money and who had wealth and power. And it's almost like Blake was saying when this poem was published to those in power in England that if things carry on the way they are doing, it is very possible that what happened in France with the French Revolution might also happen in England. Okay, that's all for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave a like so that I know you took something positive away from this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to do that as well, so that you don't miss any videos from me. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.